Welcome back to the AI Daily Brief Headlines Edition, all the daily AI news you need in around 5 minutes. We kick off today with an interesting survey from KPMG, their 2025 Global CEO Outlook. This is the 11th edition of this study, which surveys about 1,350 CEOs, all of whom have annual revenues of at least over 500 million, and a third of which have revenues of over 10 billion. The survey was conducted between the 5th of August and the 10th of September, so this is pretty fresh. Overall, confidence in the global economy is falling. It's at its lowest level in 5 years, although not hugely. But bullishness around AI seems to be going up. A full 69% of CEOs anticipate spending between 10 and 20% of their budget on AI in the next 12 months. Only 17% say that they're going to spend less than 10%. Even more interestingly, in last year's survey, only 20% said that they anticipated ROI on their AI investments within 1 to 3 years. That number has jumped to 67%. With almost that same amount, 19% saying they expect it within 6 months to 1 year. So a major pull forward on the sense of time to value. With all that change, they are also thinking about how talent changes. I have a job show that I've been putting together for a while with all the latest updates on that front. And basically, I think the story of this survey is that the response to how AI is going to have to change how they handle jobs and careers is all of the above. Yes, 41% are planning workforce reduction in some areas. But then by significant majorities, they're also all focused on retraining, redesigning roles, hiring new talent focused on AI, and basically generally just changing the nature of the org chart. So in many ways, CEOs seem to be reflecting the larger market analysis. In general, things are rough, but man, are we bullish AI. Next up, another story from the world of consulting, although one which has been much maligned and hyperviral for reasons that the firm in question does not want. Deloitte will issue a partial refund to the Australian government after turning in a report that they used AI to assist with that was riddled with errors. The report was commissioned by Australia's Department of Employment and Workforce Relations last December with a price tag of $290,000. The independent assurance review was intended to help assess issues with an automatic penalty system within the Unemployment Welfare Department. The Australian Financial Review found that the report contained multiple errors, including citations of academic studies that did not exist. The report was first published last December with a new corrected version published last Friday. The Australian government made clear that the substance of the report and its recommendation had not changed, but obviously this is a highly embarrassing episode. Among other embarrassments are the fact that it appears that the firm, despite having the reasoning models available to it, decided to use GPT-4o instead. Now, there are a lot of issues here, frankly the least of which in my mind is the fact that they used AI. Guess what? AI is going to happen. AI is going to become the single most powerful tool of consultancies. I believe that it will absolutely put downward price pressure on a lot of services that exist today, but I also think that those gaps are going to be filled with all sorts of things that weren't possible before. To take superintelligent as just one example, we don't just charge less for discovery and do it faster. We do it in a way that was completely impossible before. It was never a consideration of whether you were going to interview every single employee in your firm about a particular decision. That would just cost way too much money, and it would take way too long. But it turns out with voice agents you can, and there are all sorts of really interesting and exciting opportunities that opens up. The point being that even as AI changes the cost expectations of services today, it's going to open up all these new possibilities that simply weren't possible before, meaning that it's not some zero-sum game where inherently the revenue of these companies is just going to go down. But to capture those new opportunities, they're going to have to not do stuff like this. At a very minimum, guys, you got to check your citations. This was also a very rough day for this news to break because separately, Deloitte and Anthropic announced a sweeping new partnership that will make Claude available to more than 470,000 global Deloitte personnel. This is Anthropic's largest enterprise AI deployment to date. And in addition, the two firms are partnering to develop a formal certification program to train and certify 15,000 practitioners. They will develop compliance features to make AI use compatible with highly regulated industries like finance, healthcare, and public services. And Deloitte plans to make use of Claude's customization features, building out different personas for different groups of employees. Look, obviously here, the Anthropic deal is the much bigger story than this one random errant report, which seems pretty clearly to be a mistake of human judgment of the small team that was responsible for that report. If anything, it validates the need for this sort of training. And so, hey, maybe I'm wrong, and maybe yesterday was the perfect day to make this announcement. Lastly today, we move over to a fun product announcement. ElevenLabs has shipped a new tool called Agent Workflows. It allows users to design complex logic for voice agents using a visual interface similar to N8N, Zapier, Lindy, or OpenAI's newly introduced Agent Builder. Rather than using a single voice agent, users can define a system of subagents together with rules that govern when a conversation will be passed from one subagent to another. Each subagent can be configured individually and can use different models as well as tapping into their own task-specific tools and knowledge bases. This allows users to optimize each step of the workflow for cost, accuracy, latency, or whatever other considerations matter most to them. So to take an example, you might set up a customer service agent workflow to start off using a lightweight model to take customer details. That lightweight model would then hand off to a subagent running a more powerful model to receive the query and troubleshoot the correct resolution, then hand back off to a subagent optimized for tool use to interact with your logistics backend and action that resolution. The system also allows users to set clear rules on how and when a call will be escalated to a human worker. All of this strikes me as extremely intuitive and exactly the sort of thing that's going to help companies put these tools into production in a much bigger way. AI for Success writes, "This is how you build production-grade conversational systems that won't break in the real world." He continued, "Current voice agents have fundamental problems. Prompt engineering doesn't scale because those 5,000 token prompts break when you change anything. You have no visibility into what's happening, can't audit what went wrong, or test individual pieces. It's a pure black box. Security is impossible too. You can't control system access without writing complex prompt hacks that break constantly. This is perfect for developers tired of debugging massive prompts, companies moving from proof of concept to production, and enterprise teams needing auditable AI workflows. If your agent works in demos but fails with real users, this fixes it." I think it's a great update. I think it's going to make ElevenLabs tools massively more useful. And so I'm excited to see how people take advantage of it. For now, though, that is going to do it for today's AI Daily Brief Headlines edition. Next up, the main episode.